This video may ruffle some feathers, without a doubt. I'm going to be looking in this video at three high-end phones, three powerhouses, one of which is a relatively new kid on the block, so to speak. That's the Sony Xperia 1V. And that is going to be going up against the Apple iPhone 14 Pro Max and the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. So it's going to be an interesting video. I'm going to be looking at the specs, and at the end of the video I'm going to be giving you my own view as to which one I think is number one. So stick around till the end. My name is Roger, and please remember to like, share and subscribe. Let's jump right into the video. Let's start by looking at the network of the three handsets. We have the Sony Xperia 1V that doesn't ship with CDMA capabilities, but guess what, there's no need for alarm because CDMA is more needed by older networks such as 2G and 3G networks. Now, in terms of the body of the handsets, of the three handsets, the iPhone 14 Pro Max weighs the most, and that's coming out at 240 grams. For SIM support, all three handsets are shipped with nano SIM, eSIM and dual SIM capabilities. And guess what? They are also all IP68 ready, with the Sony Xperia 1V also being IP65 certified. For the displays, the iPhone 14 Pro Max is shipped with LTPO Super Retina XDR OLED, and this is a type of display that is used across the spectrum of the iPhone devices, handset. These offer high resolution, vibrant colors, and power efficiency. The dynamic AMOLED 2X is a display technology that is used particularly in the Samsung Galaxy devices, and these are known for their deep blacks, rich colors, and smooth visuals. Whereas now, as we're seeing here with the Sony Xperia 1V, it's shipped with OLED, type of display technology that provides high contrast, wide viewing angles, and vibrant colors in various electronic devices. The Sony Xperia 1V has a display resolution, and listen to this carefully, of 1644 by 3840 pixels, and this is complemented by an aspect ratio of 21:9. Now, with a pixel density of approximately 643 pixels per inch, it offers an incredibly sharp and detailed visual experience. Now, in case you may be wondering, this 21:9 aspect ratio, what it indicates is that the screen size is relatively wider, providing an immersive viewing experience for multimedia content such as movies and enabling better multitasking. Now, looking at the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, this is shipped with a display resolution of 1440 by 3088 pixels and a slightly narrower aspect ratio of 19.3:9. Now, this is complemented with a pixel density of around 500 ppi. It also delivers a high level of detail and clarity. The 19.3 by 9 aspect ratio offers a good balance between vertical and horizontal screen space. And guess what? This now is really suitable for general smartphone usage, including things like browsing the web, social media and multimedia consumption. Where the iPhone 14 Pro Max is concerned now, the resolution maxes out at 1290 by 2796 pixels, and this is complemented with an aspect ratio of 19.5:9. Now, the pixel density here of approximately 460 ppi provides sharp visuals and relatively decent level of detail. The 19.5:9 aspect ratio, similar to the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, kind of strikes a balance between vertical and horizontal screen space, making it more suitable for various activities that you'll do on your smartphone. Okay, so things are heating up here a bit. So we're looking up at the chipset. So we all know that the Apple iPhones have been shipping with these Bionic chipset. So this is shipped with the A16 Bionic chipset. The Galaxy S23 Ultra has the Qualcomm SM8550AC Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, and the Sony Xperia 1V is shipped with the Qualcomm SM8550AB. So this is AB, and the Galaxy S23 is AC, and that's same Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. The memory, where the memory and the storage is concerned, the Sony Xperia 1V is the only handset here that has a memory card slot. Now, whereas for the iPhone 14 Pro Max and the Samsung Galaxy S23, they have roughly 3 different variations of memory and storage combination. The Sony Xperia 1V is shipped, well, they basically have 2 different variations of memory and storage combination. So we're looking at, on the lower end, 256 gig storage with 12 gigs of RAM, and on the higher end we have 512 storage and the same 12 gigs of RAM. The other 2 handsets, the Apple iPhone and the Samsung Galaxy S23, they start off with 128. Well, the Apple iPhone starts off with 128 gigs storage, 6 gigs of RAM, and that maxes out at 1 terabyte storage and 6 gigs of RAM. So in the iPhone 14 Pro Max series, they all come with the same standard 6 gigs RAM. Now, looking at the Samsung Galaxy S23, the base unit or handsets shipped with 256 gig storage, 8 gigs of RAM, and the max out at 1 terabyte storage and 12 gigs of RAM. Okay, so you're probably wondering when we would get to the section where I talk about the cameras. Let me start off with the selfie cameras in these units. So we're looking at standard 12 megapixels front camera, selfie camera for each of these handsets, as you're seeing here. Of the 3 handsets here, the Sony Xperia 1V actually is the only handset that gives you a display of 4K HDI, and that's 120 hertz refresh rate. Now, this is really quite stunning to look at. Now, the back cameras of any smartphone is always a high point of the handset, especially if it is a high-end smartphone. What we find here is that the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra is the only one of the 3 here that I'm looking at that comes with a quad camera setup. But let me start with the iPhone 14. This setup is shipped with a 48 megapixel main camera that has a sensor shift. It also has a 12 megapixel ultra wide lens and 12 megapixel telephoto lens. The setup for the Sony Xperia 1V is basically the same thing as for the iPhone 14 Pro Max. For the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, we have no main camera, which is 200 megapixels, and then there are 2 telephoto lens that's 10 megapixels each, and there is of course an ultra wide lens which is 12 megapixels. But guess what, the high point I should say of the Sony Xperia 1V is that it has the largest sensor on a smartphone, which means that it is able to capture that much more detail. And really, when you look at the images on this phone, the Sony Xperia 1V, it is really astounding. And guess what, all 3 handsets support 4K. Now, what you find is that the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, it maxes out at 8K, so it can actually video in 8K, and at that mode you can get video at either 24 frames per second or 30 frames per second. And you may have been wondering about the battery, so let's talk a bit about the battery here. So the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra and the Sony Xperia 1V, they both ship with 5000 milliamp batteries. The Apple iPhone 14 Pro Max, on the other hand, it is shipped with a mere 4323 milliamp. And this is something that I would have been talking about over the period of its release, that Apple could have done better, I believe, in shipping this handset with a much larger battery. I mean, they could have, I believe, go up to 5,000 milliamp. So in concluding, which is number one, which one would come in second place, and which one would be third place? No, it all comes down to you, the user, what this is that you're going to be using the handset for. But let me just say that in terms of the display, the Sony Xperia 1V with its 1644 by 3840 pixel resolution, and that 443 ppi density, it certainly offers pretty much, or I should say pretty much the highest resolution, and also the in terms of a handset having a pixel density, this is the one that you're looking at here, and an immersive viewing experience, making it the top ranking option of the three, I would say. The Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, now having its 1440 by 3088 pixels, and that is with 500 ppi density, follows closely in terms of the resolution, and also in terms of the aspect ratio, the pixel density, of course, yes, and all of this offers I would say a balanced and high quality display. The iPhone 14 Pro Max now, with its 1290 by 2790 pixels, and this has a mere 460 rather ppi density. This has a slightly lower resolution and pixel density. Now this now would rank in third place among the options, but still it provides somewhat of a decent display for everyday smartphone usage. And as it relates to the chipset, the Apple iPhone 14 with its A16 Bionic and the Qualcomm SM8550AC Snapdragon Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chipset are both advanced processors. This is based on a 4nm manufacturing process. Now, while the Apple's A16 Bionic chipset focuses more so on optimizing performance for the iOS devices and offering robust AI capabilities, the Qualcomm Snapdragon processors are widely used in the Android devices, and this of course provides somewhat of a strong balance, I would say, between performance and connectivity features. Now, the choice between the two would really depend on the specific device, the operating system, and the user's preference. So here again, what it is that you're going to be using or what it is that you want the handset for is going to determine, which of the three that you're going to go with. Bear in mind here too that, as I spoke about the chipset, where the CPU is concerned, that hexa-core processor that is in the iPhone 14 Pro Max, it has 2 cores with a clock speed of 3.46 gigahertz each, while the octa-core processor has a single core with a slightly lower clock speed of 3.3 gigahertz. So here, as I mentioned again, it comes down to personal preference, what it is that you're going to be doing on these handsets. Overall, if you're looking at that handset that is going to give you, very, astounding picture quality, somewhat of a cinematic experience, and also a combination of, speed and performance, then I would say go with the Sony Xperia 1V. And I'm not really so much of an iPhone fan. So based on that, in second place for me, I would be looking at the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. Alright, so there you have it. So that is basically my review of these three handsets, looking at the Apple iPhone 14 Pro Max, the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, and Sony's Xperia 1V. Alright, but what is it for you? Which of the three handsets would you go with? Right, I'd really like to know. Alright, so Roger here again. Thank you for dropping by. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and see you again in the next video. Take care.